What do we do when we're sad? We buy books. Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a book haul. I have way too many books to haul. I have had a rough few months. The last few months have been very emotionally draining on me. And what do we do when we're sad? We buy books. Is that the proper way to handle stress or anxiety or anything else? No, I'm not condoning it. I'm just telling you what I do. So I think I have like 49 books here to talk about, which is absolutely horrific. Honestly, I'm kind of disgusted with myself, but this is cumulative from September and October. So this is like, it's a little bit better, I guess. You know, it's not just 1 week or 1 month or one haul. It's, you know, it's a few hauls mushed together into a big haul for you all. You know the drill. I'm going to be showing you what I've been purchasing, what books I have spent my money on, what books have been sent to me, all that good and fun stuff. So without further ado, because we got a lot to talk about, let's get started. Buckle in, get a snack. It's going to be a long one probably. So first up is Autumn Crow by Cameron Chaney. If you don't know who Cameron Chaney is, he is a fellow booktuber. You probably know him as Library Macabre here on YouTube, but this is his book Autumn Crow. I believe there is a sequel to Autumn Crow. I have been meaning to pick this up the last like 3 Halloween, October, fall seasons, whatever. I've been meaning to pick this book up so long and I just never got around to it, and I always ended up forgetting that I wanted to read it when the time came to purchase books. I'm very excited. I've heard really great things, and I of course love supporting fellow booktubers, so I'm very excited to finally have this one in my collection. We have a guest now. She wants to be on camera. This is Letty, my dog. If you do not know, she is very needy right now, so she's going to be involved and she probably won't leave me alone this whole book haul. So I don't typically buy special editions. I'm just not someone that really likes getting special editions, mostly because it feels like so much pressure to like get it before it disappears, and that always makes me really like anxious. So I did end up picking the Beach Read by Emily Henry special edition because Beach Read is one of my favorite books. It's one of my favorite romances of all time, and I just absolutely love this book, and I could not pass it up because look at how freaking pretty it is. Oh my gosh, like look at how freaking pretty. Look at it. I'm obsessed. It says, "I feel overwhelmed that you exist" on the front. That makes me like want to cry. So, you know, I just had to do it. I love beach reads so much, and I couldn't say no. So I did end up purchasing this special edition. I couldn't help myself. I also ended up getting the illustrated edition of The Hunger Games, which, if you know me, I am a Hunger Games girly. I have been a Hunger Games girly since it released. I love the books. I've read them so many times. I love the movies. I've watched them so many times. I'm obsessed with the Hunger Games. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I think that it is the most brilliantly written story. I knew immediately when I saw this that I was going to be purchasing it. It is absolutely stunning. The artwork is incredible. Like, it's gorgeous in here. I don't want to spoil too much because, you know, if you haven't read The Hunger Games, obviously I don't want to spoil things, but it's just absolutely beautiful. The cover underneath the dust jacket is also so beautiful. Like, I just couldn't pass it up. I would have regretted it. Like, no, I needed this in my life, so I did go ahead and get this one as well. And I think the last special edition that I've bought recently, I don't know what was in the air with me in special editions, but I ended up getting this olive edition of The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. So it looks like this. I am obsessed with this cover. I am not the biggest Exorcist fan. I've read it before. I gave it 3 stars. I read it like 5 years ago or something like that. But my Patreon book club, we are reading The Exorcist for the month of October, and I unhauled my edition, and it just so happened that this came out as the book club pick was this. And I was like, well, it's kind of just meant to be. So I decided that I needed this to reread it, of course. And if I happen to absolutely love it upon a reread, then I have this beautiful edition to keep, which I think is gorgeous. Next is my copy of Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. This was actually sent to me by Poisoned Pen Press, but I didn't get it until just recently because this got sent to my mom's house and I had to see her in order to finally get it, and it just took us a while to meet up. So I didn't have this in my possession for a really long time. I did read it at the end of September, and I love Ghost Camera. I've already read it because I was able to read it when it was on Kindle Unlimited. It's a really fun, like, Goosebumps, Say Cheese and Die adult version novella. That's what it feels like. But this also included extra bonus short stories that we have never read before, and they were also really excellent. I had a great time with this one. I think I gave it like around a 4, 4.5. It's always just a pleasant, lovely time when I read one of her books and one of her stories. So I'm glad to add this to my collection. Thank you so much, Poison Pen Press, for sending this my way. Then recently I read Shady Hollow by Juno Black, and I really enjoyed it. So I ended up picking up Cold Clay and Mirror Lake, which are the next 2 books in the series. This is like a Animal Crossing meets murder mystery meets Zootopia kind of deal. It's very fun. I love the little woodland creatures. I love the little town of Shady Hollow. I love following the animals on their, you know, murder mystery adventures. I love just getting a glimpse of Shady Hollow. It's all very fun and just very cozy. I just read Cold Clay and I didn't like it as much as Shady Hollow because I was able to guess the mystery in this one, whereas in Shady Hollow I wasn't. So I was a little disappointed by that, but the whole experience is so fun and so enjoyable. This one was so autumn heavy, like everything about the atmosphere and the vibes were just fall and autumnal and gorgeous and luscious, and I loved it. So I'm very excited to read Mirror Lake next. Another book that I've actually already read, I read at the end of September, and that was The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. I feel like everyone has been talking about this book. When I picked it up, I thought it was a murder mystery. It's not. It's a romance with like the teeniest, tiniest, little ittiest bit of a mystery. And I'm talking like minuscule. I don't think the mystery is like even really relevant most of the time, but it's very cute. It's very like fall, so if you want like a fun fall romance, I think this is good. I had a pleasant time while reading it. It was really enjoyable. The only thing that bothered me is everyone was talking about how like steamy and like how there were like a lot of sexy scenes, and I didn't really get that. I thought it could have been steamier, to be honest, but I have heard that the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which is the second book, is much steamier, which I am hopeful for. Very cute, very fun. I think if you're looking for a fall romance, it does the job. Then I got sent this very, very, very large graphic novel. This is Final Cut by Charles Burns. This is huge. I mean, this is giant, like giant. Okay, I don't think you can understand how big this book is. I think the illustrations look incredible. I don't actually know what this is about. I don't have a plot or anything to go off of. All I know it was sent to me from Pantheon Books. Thank you so much. But yeah, no idea what this plot is, but I am looking forward to giving it a try. I love a good graphic novel, and this one looks really fun. Then I end up... Hi. This one has had a lot of talk and buzz around it, and that is The Night Guest. This is a novella that has just recently come out. And I've heard so many good things about this one that I got really excited and just wanted to pick it up immediately. I knew that I wanted to check it out because I included this in my last anticipated releases video. And from what I know, this is about the main character who suffers from something, some kind of illness, but no one can figure out what it is. And the main character just has a lot of fatigue and no one's really helping her. So she ends up trying out one of those watches that, keep track of your sleep and stuff like that, like a Fitbit or whatever those things are called, Apple Watches, I don't know. I don't use those, but something like that. And when she wakes up one morning, she finds out that she's walked 40,000 steps in her sleep, which is wild. So very excited for this one. I've heard great things. While I'm on my journey of cozy fantasy reading, I decided to pick up The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This one I just think looks really, really cute. It also has purpley, lavendery sprayed edges, which are gorgeous. I don't know too much about it. I just know people were talking a lot about it. And because of that, it sounded really cute. I don't really know what I'm looking for when I'm looking at cozy fantasy, so I thought I would just give this a try since everyone's talking about it. I think this is a witchy, maybe it gives witchy vibes. I'm not really sure if this is a witchy story, but that's what it sounds like to me. So I'm willing to give it a try. I don't really know what to expect, but I'm trying this cozy fantasy journey, so let's see if I enjoy this one. Speaking of cozy fantasy, this one was actually recommended to me quite a bit, and that was Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne. This one also has really pretty turquoise sprayed edges. It's very cute looking. I believe this is about a bookshop that sells tea. That's the main thing that I know about it. It looks really cozy. I actually love tea. I'm a big tea drinker, so anything that deals with tea I think just sounds really, really, really fun. And this one caught my eye. It was recommended to me in my comments, so I was like, you know what? Done. Giving it a try. I'm just trying out cozy fantasy. This is a whole thing for me. We'll see how I enjoy it. This is an interesting book. I don't know how it will work for me, but I've heard good things, and that is The Memory Police. I have read a book by Yoko Ogawa before. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I give it 3 stars, but this one I believe has more of a dystopian feel to it, and I believe there's something about objects disappearing. That's a big part of it. And these police are trying to enforce that people don't remember the items that have gone missing. That's the most vague, generic plot I can give you because that's pretty much all I know about it. But I've heard really great things, and I really enjoy dystopian books. So I'm looking forward to trying more of a dystopian adult novel instead of more of a YA, because that's mostly what I've read. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good. Next is a short story collection. This is Mystery Light by Lena Valencia. I believe this is a short story collection of horror that takes place in the desert. The cover is really why I decided to pick it up, because it is just absolutely stunning, and I do enjoy a good short story collection, so I just wanted to give it a try and see if I enjoy it. Speaking of short story collections, I picked up Don't Turn Out the Lights. This is dedicated to Alvin Schwartz's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I believe they're trying to emulate that kind of vibe, and it's a bunch of horror authors that came together to put this collection together. I'm not really sure, but I saw a lot of people talking about it on Goodreads, and it kind of intrigued me because I grew up on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and that has really good memories for me as a child, and I absolutely loved them. So I wanted to see what this was like and how enjoyable they were, and if they remind me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Another Halloween-y read that I bought for the season, of course, is A Spectre is Haunting Green Tree by Carson Winter. Again, something I don't know much about. I believe it has to do with a scarecrow, and anything that has to do with scarecrows kind of freaks me out. I don't know, ever since I was a kid, I read that Goosebumps story and that had a scarecrow in it and it kind of traumatized me. So now I've always hated scarecrows. And then I read Small Spaces, and that was a middle grade horror, but it had to do with scarecrows, and that one was actually very scary. So when I saw scarecrows, I was kind of like, yeah, okay. This also takes place in Green Tree, Oregon. I live in Oregon, so I was like, it's meant to be. I have to read this. Why wouldn't I pick this up? So it's very short. I think it'll be an easy read. I'm hoping to get it read before the end of October, so fingers crossed that I'm able to do that. Another really hyped novella is Graveyard Shift by ML Rio. This was another like cover buy. This was on my anticipated releases, and I think it sounds really good. It's about a group of people that all work like a graveyard shift, and they find that someone's been digging a hole in the graveyard, like uncovering a grave, and they think it's suspicious, so they decide to try and figure out who's doing it and why. I think it sounds really creepy. I think it sounds very eerie. Anything that happens during like the night shift, graveyard shift, I just think could be really creepy. So I've seen mixed opinions on this. I don't know if I'll like it, but I still wanted to give it a try. For September's Book of the Month picks, I ended up getting Sleep Tight by J.H. Market. I also don't have any clue what this is about. I think this is about a serial killer, and anything that has to do with serial killer in fiction, I'm very intrigued by. So I decided to make this my pick. I have seen some people not enjoy it though, and I don't remember the last book from J.H. Market, I think it was last year's release, but I saw a lot of mixed reviews on that one as well, so I never ended up picking it up. But you know, I'm still down to give it a try and see what it's like. Along with Sleep Tight, I got Someone in the Attic by Andrea Mara. This is a home invasion thriller. I'm pretty sure I picked it up solely because it's about home invasion, and that's something that truly terrifies me, so I wanted to see if it was any good. I have seen some people, mainly Jan, not like this, so I'm very, very, very nervous, but I'm hoping that maybe I will enjoy it. We'll see. And then I picked up All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker, which I also have already read. This is like a 600-page mystery crime thriller of sorts. I have already read it. I have mixed feelings on it. I actually don't know what my rating on this book is because of how many mixed feelings I had about it. But I think a lot of people are gonna love it because it's very emotional. It's a very just pulls at your heartstrings. There's a lot going on. It's very character driven, especially in the middle. So I think a lot of people will gravitate towards it for that reason. But it, you know, I had some mixed feelings on it. I'm not quite sure how I enjoyed this book, but it did some really good things and I think it's worth a read. But again, 600 pages is a little too long for me. Might as well talk about October's Book of the Month pick. I got the Book of Witching by C.J. Cook. This is like a historical fiction mystery. It has a dual timeline, and it does have one timeline in the 1500s where the witch trials are taking place. The other timeline is in the present day, and this woman's daughter has been found burned, and when she wakes up in the hospital from those burns, she's claiming to be someone else, someone named Nyx. And the two timelines, they do come together. I wasn't the biggest fan of this. I thought it was a little boring at times. I wasn't super invested in the story, so I did give this one 3 stars, unfortunately, but you know, I can see a lot of people really enjoying this one. My Aardvark book picks for this month, October, I got Where I End by Sophie White. I have already read this. I had a NetGalley arc of it. I chose this one because I loved this book. I gave it 4.5 stars and it was really enjoyable, so I wanted a physical copy of it, so that's why I went ahead and got this one. The other book I chose to get from Aardvark was This Cursed House by Adele Sandine. I've heard great things about this one. I believe this is like a gothic cursed family kind of thing. I'm actually not sure, but this was on my anticipated releases. I was watching this one for it to come out because I was very intrigued by it. And then from Forever Publishing, I got Hot Hex Boyfriend by Carly Bloom. This is going to be like a witchy romance, of course, which I love. Deja Brew by Celestine Martin. This is like an autumnal fall romance. Again, don't know much about this one. It looks very, very cute though. I love the pumpkins all over it. And then I actually got The Fabric of Our Souls by K.M. Moronova. I think that's how you pronounce this author's name. This is a dark romance. I have never read a dark romance, but I'm excited to give it a try and see what it's like, see if I enjoy dark romance. Then I picked up Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. I think that's how you pronounce this author's name. I'll be honest, I bought this because of the video that Gabby, Katie, and Gavin did together. I thought this sounded so good, and they made this book really like enticing and like something I want to try. I believe this is like a horror fantasy with romance in it, and honestly I think that could be a really good combination and I could enjoy it. So thank you, Gabby, Gavin, and Katie. Another book that has like a lot of buzz around it is Immortal Dark by Tigist Girma. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I believe this is about black vampires. The cover is really cool. The side, like sprayed edges, are very cool as well. It sounds interesting, and I love vampires. I've been reading a lot of vampire horror. Everyone's been talking about this one, so I wanted to pick it up for myself and see if it was any good, because why not? And because I have been in a Hunger Games mood, I've recently read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, absolutely loved it, watched all the movies repeatedly because, again, like I said, I'm a Hunger Games girly. I really wanted to try some more dystopian books, and these two are really popular, I believe. I'm not sure if I will like them. I'm not really sure if they're going to be for me, but I ended up picking Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I know so many people have loved this series. I don't know if I will like it. And then I also got Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Again, a book I've heard so many people talk about. I don't know if they are something I will enjoy, but they have a lot of talk around them. I just want to read some more dystopian books, and these sounded good. If I don't like them, I think my partner Justin will, because when I read him the descriptions, he sounded really intrigued. So I think if I don't like them, I might just give them to him and he'll read them. But I still want to give them a try. I think they're really popular on like Book Talk. I don't really tend to look at Book Talk that often, but people have to be talking about them for a reason, right? So I want to see what they're about. Another little novella, I picked up Guillotine by Delilah S. Dawson. I've had a very hit or miss relationship with Delilah S. Dawson, but I think this gives like Ready or Not, the horror movie with Samara Weaving. I feel like it gives that kind of vibe. It's about this woman who's dating this guy, and she's kind of dating him for his family because his mom is really well known and she kind of wants a job with his mom. So she ends up going to this big family event, and I think things just get kind of crazy and wild and insane. So I don't know. Sounds like Ready or Not. It was a fun movie, so I'm hoping that this will also be really fun and enjoyable. This book was sent to me from Atria. This is Night and Day by John Connolly. This is a short story collection, I believe, but the cover is so cool. I feel like it has a very vintagey look to it. It kind of reminds me of those 101 horror stories to scare you, or you know what I mean, those big books of scary stories. I feel like this is kind of like that but different, and I don't know, it sounds like a lot of fun. I do enjoy a short story collection, so hopefully the cover will also match the insides and they'll both be very good. Another anticipated release of mine, this is Such Lovely Skin. I actually just read this for a readathon I did with my patrons, and this was a lot of fun. This surprised me. It's about a teenage girl, because this is YA. She is a Twitch streamer and her little sister has recently died. She ends up playing this video game where this character asks her for a deep, dark secret. She tells this, you know, game character the secret, and now she's being stalked by a doppelganger or a mimic. And this had a little bit of romance in it. it was a lot of fun. It was fast paced. It was something different. It's not like I've read things similar to this a lot. So I just had a really good time with it. And I'm really shocked because I didn't have high hopes, honestly. I've been striking out with horror recently, so to have this be such a pleasant surprise, I am really thankful. I also picked this graphic novel, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. This looks very interesting. It's about this little town and this bear who is a murderer, I believe. The bear is just a serial killer and kills people and is trying not to get caught by the police. That's what it sounds like. The cover kind of made me giggle, so honestly I really wanted to try it. I've heard a couple of people talking about this on Instagram and I thought it just sounded really cute, and it'll be a fast, quick, fun read. These books were also sent to my mom's house, so I wasn't able to get them until just recently, but I got this thriller, The Day He Never Came Home by Andrew DeYoung. Don't know anything about it. I don't think I've even seen people talking about this one. It just says she thought she knew her husband. She was wrong. It sounds like a domestic thriller. Don't know if that's something I tend to love, but I'm very intrigued by it. Then I got The Drowning House by Sherry Priest. I believe this is a horror book, and I believe it takes place in the Pacific Northwest, which is something that I tend to really enjoy because I live in the Pacific Northwest and that's always fun for me. Sounds like a storm washes up a mysterious house onto a Pacific Northwest beach, and that sounds very ominous, very weird. Then Things Went Dark by B. Fitzgerald. Another thriller that I've heard nothing about. Haven't seen anyone talking about it. Says no murder has ever had more witnesses. 6 people land on a desert island ready to make their reality show debut. So it sounds like murder is gonna occur on the set of a reality TV show. I do love when books incorporate reality TV shows. You all have to let me know if you've read any of these because I haven't heard anything about them. This was an ARC, but I of course didn't get it in time. This is Everything We Never Knew by Julianne Hough and Ellen Goodlett. This was released on August 13th. The cover is very stunning. I don't even know what kind of book this is. I think it's just fiction. I did pick up this book because everyone was recommending this to me. This is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This is like a witchy, cozy, fantasy rom-com vibe. I believe it has some romance in it. So, you know, I eat that up. I love a cozy, witchy fantasy. I love a little bit of romance. I think this sounds very cute. I believe the main character is pretending to be a witch, and she gets asked to teach these young children how to control their magic, and she's obviously pretending. So I think it sounds really cute. Sounds like right up my alley. Then I picked up What Feeds the Lake by J.C. Hemstreet. This is another that I haven't heard anything about. This is like an artist's retreat that takes place at this lake and weird things happen. I think this is also like a wintry setting, which I love. And it sounds like that everyone there for this retreat was picked for a specific purpose. It sounds like it's probably going to be a setup, which, I mean, come on. But it looks very interesting. It sounds very interesting. It also has some illustrations inside, which I think is very cool. And I love a winter setting. I love a wintry, isolated setting in a book. That's just really fun for me, so I do have high hopes for this one. Speaking of winter, I was sent Any Trope But You. This is coming out next year in April 1st to be specific, 2025. This is by Victoria Levine. This is a romance, and this was sent to me from Atria. I believe this is about a romance author who doesn't believe in happily ever afters. So she writes them, but she doesn't believe in them. And I guess she writes alternate endings to a lot of her romances where they end badly instead of happily. And that document gets released and she gets like canceled because of it. Because how could a romance author ever want to do something slightly different? And she goes to a 6-week stay in a remote area in Alaska. It sounds like she's gonna meet this doctor who's left his dream job for working with his family because his father is ill, and they're probably going to meet each other, fall in love, blah blah. All that cute, fun stuff that I enjoy. Speaking of romance, I picked this up for Halloween season. It's Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This is like a witchy story. It takes place during the month of October. And the main character has kind of lost her witchy spark. She hasn't really seen it in a while. It's been kind of gone. And I guess some trouble emerges. She has the whole month of October to prove that she's still a witch. And she's also turning 30, which I think is really cool because I don't see that age a lot, honestly. I honestly see the ages of like 20 to like 25 mostly. And since I am close to 30, I do think that this one will be fun. I got sent Here Lies a Vengeful Bitch by Cody Crowley. This is YA, I believe. I don't know much about it, but I have seen this cover everywhere. I've seen so many people talking about this one. It says they think they killed a girl, they only made a monster. Annie Lane was murdered, but that won't slow her down. So it sounds like she's going to come back to life to get revenge on the people that wronged her. So I think this sounds cute. Well, maybe not cute, but it sounds like it could be fun at least. And again, seen a lot of hype around this one. So big thanks to Hyperion for sending me a copy. Another anticipated release of mine is Model Home by Rivers Solomon. This cover is absolutely mind-blowing. I love the color. It's so eye-catching, so bright, so pretty. I think people have said that it's not your typical average haunted house story. I think it's gonna have a lot of like social commentary involved, which I always really enjoy, and I love reading haunted house stories. Even if they're not typical haunted house stories, I always look forward to them. This looks like it'll be a really short read as well. Sourcebooks Landmark sent me The Resort by Sarah Oakes. I don't know how to pronounce this. I remember seeing this on Book of the Month. I believe this was one of the picks for thriller. I know I didn't get it, but it just says, welcome to paradise. We hope you survive your stay. There are 3 rules to following during a vacation at the famous Koh Sang Resort. Leave the past behind. Always be careful who you trust. And if someone discovers who you really are, run. So it sounds like this is going to take place in Thailand, and it's a famous party island. The main character is looking for an escape. She's got dark secrets following her, as do most thriller main characters. Now she's a dive instructor. She's just stayed there, I guess, and you know, she's just hanging out. And then a dive student is found dead, and everything comes crashing down because it's not the only mysterious death that has occurred, I guess. So I probably will save this closer to a warmer time, just because I feel like I will be very confused if I try to read this while we are entering winter. But this sounds like it could be a really fun summer, spring type of read. We Came to Welcome You Home by Vincent Tirado. I've heard lots about this one, a lot of mixed reviews, honestly, but Jan really liked this one, so I'm hopeful that I also really like it. I believe this is playing with the trope of, you know, an HOA, a homeowners association, or like a weird neighborhood that has, you know, weird people living in it, weird rules, that kind of thing that you have to abide by. And I always enjoy that type of trope because I have lived in a homeowners association before and I hate them. So I already find them very like outrageous and crazy. So I just think it's funny when horror books kind of play off of that, because, you know, what's scarier than someone telling you what to do with a house, or, you know, your yard, or, you know, how to interact with neighbors. I just think that is a very adult thing to be freaked out by, but maybe that just shows my age, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it sounds really fun. I have some more 2025 releases, which is crazy to talk about. They make me feel so weird. First up is Nowhere by Allison Gunn. This is coming out March 25th of 2025. This is a thriller, I believe. It says that it's True Detective meets The Outsider. It's a twisty debut about a series of disappearances in a small fundamentalist town and what one broken family must do to remain together as dark forces close in. So it does sound like it's probably going to have some religious stuff because it's going to take place in a religious community, a fundamentalist town. I don't know how much I will love that because I don't always love when religion enters my books. I guess it just depends on how it's written, but I do love this kind of storyline. It sounds very intriguing. Also from Atria is Coram House by Bailey Seibold. This is coming out April 15th of 2025. This also looks like a snowy, wintry, isolated kind of thriller. Sharp Objects meets I Have Some Questions for You in this haunting novel inspired by a true story about a crime writer who risks everything as she investigates the mystery of two deaths decades apart at a crumbling Vermont orphanage. I love when books take place in Vermont. That probably sounds very weird, but Vermont is a very cool setting to me. It's a state I've never been to, but when books take place in Vermont, I always find it very intriguing. And the last book that I am hauling is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This is not new. This is a very old, I don't think it's that old. I don't know how old. It came out in 2019, so it's not that old, but it's been talked about. Most people I feel like have read this one. But I recently have read another Ruth Ware and I really enjoyed it. The reality TV show summary thriller. I know a lot of people didn't like that one, but I really did. And it kind of just made me want to pick up another Ruth Ware. I know this is like one of her most well-known, her like most beloved ones. I don't know if this is a retelling or just like a kind of like the same vibe, but I believe this is following The Turn of the Screw, which I've never read. So I might hate this, I might love it, I'm not sure, but I've seen a lot of people really enjoy this one and I wanted to give another Ruth Ware book a chance. All right, my friends, that is it for this very large book haul. I had way too many books to haul. Like I said, it's been a long 2 months. I tend to buy books when I'm not feeling my greatest. So thank you all so much for watching me talk about all these books. Let me know if you've read any of these or you want my thoughts and opinions on any in particular. I would love to know. That way I can move them up to the TBR, put them at the top so I, you know, pay attention to those ones first. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. That way I know you like hauls and that way I can keep doing them because you know I will keep buying books either way. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I also have a Patreon linked down in the description box where we can become friends, talk about books, horrifying books, thrilling books, romance books, manga, all that good fun stuff. And with that being said, I hope you are having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!